Can you hear me now? Good. Yeah, there we go. The old starting muted trip. My name is Paul Shelley. Welcome to the AstroHistorian. This is a channel dedicated to exploring and explaining the lore of sci-fi and space universes and discussing their impact. Today, we're going to look at Squadron 42's Prologue, I guess is what it technically it is, and the little lore hints we can find inside of it. Sorry about that. I didn't realize my mic wasn't working. Anywho, welcome, and this is the beginning of what I'm starting to call a Lore Looks live stream, or lore, or L cubed, L3, tentatively right now, but I want to start doing these on Mondays, where I have a specific goal in mind, and I sit down and I examine lore, Star Citizen, 1242, Mech Warrior, you name it. I just sit down and do some deep dives, looking at some specific cool stuff, yeah, like just for an hour or two, to supplement my normal video content. So hopefully you enjoy this, because I do like doing live streams, especially on the AstroHistorian, which I don't do a lot. So amateur voice acting, yeah, I'm not professional. I don't have enough range, unless you want to just hear my nasally voice. The only other thing I can do is just a bit of a southern voice, because I've lived in the South for the last 15 years. No, geez, longer than that. No, it's about, yeah. Oh, longer than that, like 17, 18 years. Lived in Texas for the last 10, so. But my voice, my normal voice, that's closer to my normal voice than this. This is more of my, I'm trying to put on a voice, but it's not, that's a little more exaggerated. Squadron 42 lore tour, yeah, that's kind of stuff. New background, my OCD. Well, this is not just a new background. This is something that Darionator, who's in chat right now on Twitch, has specifically also had. Now, the YouTube chat will not show up on there because it's currently broken. I don't know why it's broken, but it is, but I can still see YouTube chat. Yeah, this is live. This was made a while ago by Darionator, and I was like, cool, this is great. I'd like to do this, and I never used it, so I want to try to use it more often. In fact, I was supposed to use this for like the lore tours and stuff like that. I even have a floor tour set up. Do I get all the money from Super Chat, or does YouTube steal it? I don't know. I will be I will be conservative and say I think YouTube takes a little bit. Because typically YouTube takes 30%. It's like a 70-30. So I get more money than I do on Twitch from YouTube, than YouTube, but from YouTube. You couldn't see anything out of the stream. Yes, if you look at the other stream, you'll see that it says Elgato no signal, because that is connected to my stream PC, which I currently do not have on. Or my stream PC, my gaming PC, which I currently don't have on. But that would normally be, you know, my gaming PC. How you doing, The Don Show? But yeah, if that was on, that would be that's my capture card. So you'll be able to see that there. We have 42 people currently working. No one leave. No one come in, which is perfect. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to break down the Squadron 42 trailer that we got at CitizenCon. I did this on my other channel, but on the AstroPub YouTube and Twitch, but it wasn't quite as good as here we go. It wasn't quite as detailed or as good. So I'm going to use the IGN one because it's just the first thing that comes up. Yeah. Found your videos recently, enjoyed, excited for the complete history of Star Citizen lore part 5. My editor reached out to me today and said that he's plugging away at it. He had some setbacks. He's definitely trying to do his best. He was originally planning on getting it done this last weekend, but he wasn't able to. But he's in the process of finishing it. So it should be done in the next week or so. Hey, Knowledge, how's it going? Yeah, best money. If you want to do the best money, then just my tips link, which should be in the description below on YouTube and in the little panels below on Twitch. But you can always check me out live if you're enjoying this on YouTube side. I do Twitch on twitch.tv/TheAstroPub, and I have a regular gameplay channel called The AstroPub Live, where you can catch me doing, you know, gaming content. I have a podcast there called the Captain's Table Podcast, which has been going on for 8 years, almost 9 years now, which is just dedicated to Star Citizen. But I don't just play Star Citizen there. Myself and my friend Loken Plays have played MechWarrior 5, MechWarrior Clans. We've done Helldivers. We've done... I keep forgetting I did Helldivers lore. Gosh, I've done a lot of stuff like that, so... You never catch me live because I don't go live off on here. So, glad you're here. All right, with that, let's turn off the music. And let's bring up Squadron 42. Now, this is going to be me live breaking this down. I'm going to stop it frequently and analyze it extensively. I'm going to do my best not to spoil anyone, because one of the things that I will come up I'll be upfront right now and tell you is I know the entire story of Squadron 42 because it was leaked multiple times and I accidentally spoiled myself on it. And I don't want to ruin anybody else's experience because I know a lot of people want to come in blind. But there's a lot of cool things that I know because I also know the lore behind Squadron 42 and Star Citizen. And for those of you who are just watching this being like, who the heck is this guy? What's going on? Hi, I do lore content on YouTube. I started my lore content on Star Citizen, and it's Star Citizen is the sister game to Squadron 42. People called it a spin-off. It's not really a spin-off. They both take place in the same universe. It's just Squadron 42 is the single player game and Star Citizen is the MMO. But they take place in the same universe, so a lot of the stuff referenced in Squadron 42 is actually Star Citizen lore specifically. So I have a lore gathering question. When you did the Aegis tour, you mentioned that the UEE picked up the Saber after it won the second ship competition. Where the heck did you find info like this? So there's two places that look. Any ship before 2020 has extensive brochures where they had a full lore brochure written out with a bunch of stuff inside of it. That was there. It said specifically it was there to win the next Great Starfighter contest to deal with the... Stinger. Yeah, the Stinger. Which is, it's funny to me. To give you context of what the Stinger is, this is the Stinger. That is the Stinger. That is, oh, wait, you can't see it. That is what the Saber was designed to fight. Doubt. It's like, man, the UE's got some fucking, like, they got some like faith in their pilots that they can outfly that thing. Done your vids recently? Enjoyed your, okay, yeah. When you say prologue trailer, you mean 40-minute cutscene called the gameplay reveal? So this is where I don't want to spoil too much, but I will say that based off of what I know about the game, the best way to describe that is the prologue. So that gameplay reveal is mostly world setting, and once you get away from the prologue, it becomes a lot more focused on your character. That basically sets the stakes. And from they call it the prologue, so I'm guessing chapter 1. Well, I think that is chapter 1, but chapter 2 onwards, it's a lot more, it's slow. It is very slow paced. I'll just say that right off the bat. It is, do not expect some sort of high octane action thing. It very much wants to build the world for you, even in the first couple of chapters. But there is still cutscenes, but those cutscenes are usually garnished with discussion and with like a dialogue. It's more similar to something like the Mass Effect universe kind of games. But it is a Chris Roberts flashy show at the very beginning. Took out a tally and a lightning in a single salvo. Yeah. A slow grind chapter. Yeah. It's designed to set the scene. And if you look at a lot of the analysis of that specific video, a lot of folks, kind of even people who are in video game development, I saw a couple people looking at it in video game development and were like, I know what this is. This is this is setting the scene. You're setting up all of these cutscenes so you can set the mood, so you get to show off all your actors and see what's going on, and then kind of move on from that. Can I comment? We actually know. Chris Roberts said that the game is 20 to 30 hours long. I believe he said 30 hours. I could be wrong in that one, but he said it at CitizenCon this year. YouTube not showing up. It's not showing up there, but I can see you on my screen. Was there even a saber in that battle? There was in one of the original cuts. We actually saw it in one of the earlier trailers for it, but there wasn't in the ones we saw. It's 30 to 40. It might be 30 to 40. I know that it was for the longest time, the Roberts brothers have thrown out the word 40 hours. Not 100, and there's also going to be side content. So there is a main quest or main storyline, and then there are side stories you can do. And for fun fact, the mission that they showed off in the Vertical Slice many years ago, that is a side mission. It's an hour-long side mission. Are there any other aliens in the game that we'll see? I don't want to spoil the reveals. But the Vandul are there, as you already know. But we'll see. There are Hornets, Lightnings, and the Cal Mason's F7X Special Hornet. He's such a special snowflake. I love him. 30 hours of main story, I guess. A bit more with side missions exploring areas. I think so, yeah. I found out that in my area, IT guys are started at a bare minimum of 90K. Huh. Label it in the radar is wrong. John Crew confirmed it's F7X. Yeah. All right. Let's go into this. Feel free to ask questions and pause, and I'll pause and try to read chat as well. But I'm gonna try to break this down as we go. I'm gonna keep the volume pretty high. If you won't be able to hear a lot, but I'll put on the. I can't put on the closed captions. Okay, hold on. I know CIG has closed captions, so sorry, IGN. There we go. They don't have CIG. Okay, I'll keep the volume up, but all right. So a couple things we need to see here. Galactopedia. This is the thing. If you've seen the codex entries in games like Mass Effect, that's really what they're there for. I'm going to go with the actual native screen here. Options menu, level select, change character, load, continue, and new game. So if you've seen this, if you look at this, the reason why this exists like this is a little bit of meta lore, is that this is how pretty much every Chris Roberts Wing Commander looks like. Your bunk is a huge part of the sort of diegetics. It's when you go to end a level, like when you finish a day, when you go do a level and you come back, you often have to go to your bunk, and that's where you get to save your game. And so your bunk in the various different locations is going to be a big aspect of your career. So yes, it's a prototype. It's a special prototype. So this is for those of you who didn't catch it later on. I highly suggest people watch this first and then watch this. Watch it on your own and then before watching this. If you haven't already done so, if you're watching this after the fact, please do that, because I'm going to be talking a little bit more in depth about some of these. The thing you have to know about this is, first off, you're a starman, your current rank, and your service number is H6327327234665. That may change as because it may be unique for each player, but we'll have to see. But this is your combat pilot training application form. So when your captain goes, I see you applied for the Flight Academy again. This is you filling out that application. So that's sort of like that introduction. So you creating your character is in universe, you applying for the Flight Academy.
Navy is not about.
Let me back it up a little bit. Formed in 2380 under the old United Nations of Earth, the UE Navy has since become the largest branch of the military, conducting operations throughout the Empire and beyond, from securing the borders from potential Vandal incursions to patrolling the Empire in a law enforcement capacity. UE Navy pilots serve as the public face of the UE military. The Navy is often the first and most important part of the military forces of the UEE, because its main focus and purpose is to be like reactionary force. If there's going to be a military force that shows up, it's likely going to be the Navy, and if it's the Marines, you've done messed up. There are 3 different branches of the UE military. Technically, not really 4. There are 3 branches. The main branches are the Navy, the Marines, and the Army. The Navy functions as your typical space Navy, carriers, fleets. I have an entire video where I break down the structure of it, which I'll kind of reference here in the future. The Marines are their own branch of the military, and they have their own fleets. So they have their own means of transportation, but they do serve on Navy vessels as well. And the Marines are the best of the best. You do not join the Marines choose you. So when all recruits enter training, it's a big mixed grab bag. So Army recruits and Navy recruits will both go to the same training facilities. And at these training facilities, it seems like you have some choice of where you go, but your skills are determined during your basic training routine, and then you are given your MOS as you do so. But if you stand out amongst other people, you will get pulled for the Marines. And if you are really good at flight, if they can tap you as someone who's really good at for flight, you get tapped to go to the academy. So all academy, it seems like every officer in the military or in the Navy has gone to the flight academy. So they all are combat pilot trained in the academy at least a little bit. And it does seem like you're required to do so. There are lore references that NCOs and ROTC do exist, who also fly combat ships, but they are also referenced in terms of like second string. So, during a war, you'd see them be pulled in to do so. But it seems like the majority of the pilots in the UE Navy have been through the academy, and anyone can go through the academy at any time. But the best of the best get pulled into the academy before their basic, and then they get shuffled in, that kind of stuff. So. I don't know if I'm missing something, but during the battle, the Argus looks like one of the escort carrier ships. But when she gets blasted by the King ship, the guns cruiser battleships have. Yeah, I think that's just a glitch or a mistake, because the Argus is definitely labeled as as one of the carriers, and it then it shows up as not having that. So. Question, does the Army have ships too? No. Well, yes, they do. They mostly have transport ships. Like, they'll have Valkyries and stuff like that, but they don't have combat ships, as far as I know. They do have they have an entire fleet of transports that helps them transport their materials. But there is not a lot of lore on the Army. We do know that the Tavaran species, which is a client species of humanity that humanity conquered many years ago, most of the Tavaran end up in the Army rather than the Navy. Though there are more than a few Tavaran who've served in the Navy, including the current senator from the Tavaran homeworld, Suj Kosi. So, just a mistake for the script for voice recording. It's probably more that they wanted the Argus to be a carrier, and then they hadn't switched or they wanted the Argus to be a carrier or something like that. They had the recording, and they have to figure out how it works. So Corvus gets hits, not the Argus. Yeah. All right. So now we have the breakdown of this. We understand that the Navy is a very important thing, and this is Aaron Einright, I think, or I could be thinking. He says his full name. He is the commander of Squadron 42. And when we see Squadron 42's arrival, I'll kind of break down a little bit more, because a lot of people says that seems really small for a squadron. It's not the full squadron. It's a couple of flights of the squadron. Enright. I'm right. So, but yeah. So now we kind of get the idea. You are applying to become a combat pilot. Effectively, you're applying to become an officer. So that's what your character's doing. And your character is currently a starman, not even a starman first class, which means you are the equivalent of a seaman, or a like private. You are the absolute lowest rank you could be in after going through basic. So you are Mr. or Mrs. Zero. Are we talking about the big gun turreted Bengal? If so, call that a battle carrier variant. It's just a carrier. There's no evidence that it has any carrier parts. It's called the cruiser in lore, because we know that the the Integrity is a cruiser, and the Integrity is in the Hollow Globe, and we have lore on the Integrity being a cruiser. So we know that the Integrity is a cruiser, which means all of the ships around it are similar class. So
not
rank
about
swap.
piloting the most cutting-edge ships or traveling to the farthest reaches of the universe.
I will say he looks a little too sculpted. They definitely need to add some more details to his face because he looks far too clean. But yes, he is the commander of Squadron 42. So he is like the poster child of the UEE.
Forging connections that will last your entire life. Fighting to protect your home and loved ones. Or even learning what you're truly capable of. Those are just the perks. I'm Commander Ryan Enright.
Ryan.
I fly Navy.
These are fairly new additions. These are called grav catapults. I do not know why they exist. I can venture a guess that these grav catapults function as a way similar to how catapults work in real carriers, as a way of accelerating speeds much faster and much quicker, with probably without the use of intense amounts of fuel from the fighter. So be able to quickly launch several fighters at once, because we actually see there's like 4 or 5 of these things that exist on a Bengal, on the main deck of a Bengal. So you could probably launch, my guess would be an entire flight, which would be entire flight is like 6 ships, six ships in one go. So. That's the F8C or F8A. I'm going to go into this one. F8A, this is the replacement for the F7A. This was built in the 2930s. It is a flying gun. Lots and lots of flying turret, lots of armor. You'll notice that the design on this, these sorts of sloping angles, are designed specifically to deal with the Vanduul, because the Vanduul love to engage in melee combat in space. That sounds insane, but that's what they do. They will ram you. Most of their ships have built-in ramming blades and spikes to specifically attack you in space. They see it as not necessarily an honor, but a show of skill if they could kill you with their ships themselves. So. All right, so VX 3030, this I'm guessing is your physical test. Clean bill of health, clean background check for eligible for security clearance, and DX 3034, psychological test. So I don't know why you have to get a clean bill of physical and mental health and a psychological test, but you know, if you become a UE Navy pilot, you will be the lifeblood of military activities throughout the UE and beyond. So High Command looks for qualified candidates who are able to withstand physical, mental, and psychological stresses of the job. High Command is the head of the military. Now, unlike other universes or reality, I guess it happens in some places. You have the military itself is a branch of the government. You have 3 branches: the Senate, also known as the Secretary, head by the High Secretary; Congress, head by the High Secretary. You have the military, headed by the High Command, and what's known as the Advocacy, which is headed by the High Advocate. Now, the Advocacy is the sort of criminal justice branch. And while we do have a high court, a UEE high court, we don't know if the high court is part of the Advocacy or a separate branch as well. From the sounds of things, it is part of the Advocacy, though there are some other stuff like that. The military itself is its own branch, so it functions independently of all of the other branches. Above all 3 branches is the rank of Imperator, who is an elected position that happens. You can only serve one term as Imperator, and it's a 10-year service, a 10-year term. There's a lot of complicated stuff behind it, but know that the military has a lot of autonomy in the UEE. Like it is a problem to the point. We'll talk about it when we get to the Polo Initiative. Mental health and psychology are distinct. That's true. I'm guessing this is just more of like, are you crazy, or like, do you have other issues in terms of like your health checkup? And this is more of a, can you handle the stresses of combat? There is an Imperator armored transport ship. It's called Imperator 1, and it is a modified Genesis Starliner. Oh, another fun fact. The High Command is made up of 3 people, all members of the individual branches, and they're called the Legatus branches. Legatus Navium, Legatus Marinium, and Legatus Exercitis, which is the like Latin for army. So it just basically means the head of the Navy, head of the Marines, and head of the Army. Teams of flight. After a period of general flight instruction, you will be assigned to a specialized flight training based on aptitude qualifications and services needed. Single seat combat, multi-crew pilot, reconnaissance and intelligence, and research and development. Start application. Once submitted, a duplicate copy will be submitted to your current commanding officer. Okay, that's why she knows. So, if you couldn't get it. These are all of this is your difficulty ranking. Rookie, Wingman, Ace, and Legatus. These are effectively what level of competency and flight and combat proficiency do you have? How much experience do you have? But it acts as your level selector, your difficulty selector. Are there any places you recommend for huge reading materials on UE structure and ships? Trying to remember the name of it. There's the writing guide and the lore maker's guide. I think those are the 2 that you look up them. They're posts that CIG used to post in the back. The writing guide is dated. It's very dated. There's definitely stuff that's been updated since then. And the lore makers actually has a little bit more detail in there. So 2900s and meta subsets. It's a holdover because the original founder of the UEE, Ivor Messer, was obsessed with Rome and wanted to build Rome in space, which is why there's a ton of Latin names all over the place. And even though the Messers have been overthrown as a dynasty, there is still that sort of still permeates the UEE, because while they were removed from like power, they weren't actually removed from power. The people who removed them still wanted to keep the structure around. They just didn't like the Messers in charge. So you got a modicum of reforms, which has caused a whole schism, which we'll talk about next time, probably next Monday, when we talk about the conflict between Earth and Terra, which is going to be the main story of Star Citizen. So. Rich tire. I like her husband. So this actually does play a part in the game itself. Lore-wise, where is the Pegasus supposed to punch sit in battle? Can it, again, lore-wise, punch above its weight to take on larger ships, or as long as few fighters in tow, or no way? From the design and from the way, I don't think so. I think it's designed to be more of a backline support, where it sends out fighters to support other ships that are in the main combat. But yeah. I like Latin names. We use them. I'll use them a lot in Japanese media. Yeah, I mean, there's the joke about how everyone is obsessed with Rome isn't wrong. Latin is there's a reason why Latin is so important in like world history, because it's kind of dominated everything. Our own, even English, we use Latin Romanic Roman characters, for our alphabet. So. Emergency contact likely coming in the PU, built-in way to enact next of kin, cause of death, spaceman. Yeah, exactly. But it's cool. I'll point out the detail. Like, these pop up again.
I assumed he talked to all rookies that way.
I assumed he talked to all the rookies that way.
Okay. So, I will tell you this. This is not your character creation screen. You have Romanized Japanese. Yeah, Romanji. And I know it exists. I've just like been like, it's so in depth that if I remember correctly, there is a myth, and I could be wrong. If somebody's from Indonesia, they can tell me I'm wrong, but there's a myth in Indonesia which ties the founding of Indonesia, maybe Jakarta, maybe, with that it was founded by a combination of Han Chinese and Roman settlers. Like the combined, they helped found Jakarta. So like that Indonesia is a fusion of Rome and China. I don't know if that's true or not, or if I'm not true, obviously. I mean, more like if that legend is actually real, but you know. So yeah, it's everywhere, man. It's everywhere. You have theories why these are generic. I know why these are generic. But there is a character creation screen later down the line, and it is very much built into the storyline. So I'm not gonna give it too much time. Just know that there is more to your character creation than this. This is just sort of the preview for that.
Archangel 6, come in.
Go for 6.
I'm getting a faint contact on bearing 287. You picking that up?
Yeah, got it. Scanning now.
F7A Mark IIs. These were at the time of this October of 2945. These are brand new. Like they just came out. So not surprising that this what do they call it? This battle group of the Second Fleet has these because Bishop is in charge and they're on the Vanduul border, so they would be some of the first ones to get them. But yeah, these are just upgraded versions of the F7A Mark I, which were made by Anvil Aerospace, which produces a bunch of other ships, which you'll probably see in Squadron as well.
We're clear. Commercial vessel out of Vega 3. Reminded them that civilian traffic is restricted under lockdown.
Copy that.
So, Vega 3 is not Aramis. Aramis is the Vega 2. Vega 3, there's two main planets in the Vega system, 2 and 3. 3 was on the rise of being this industrial powerhouse, and then Virgil fell. And when Virgil fell, all of the to the Vanduul, which is a neighboring system, all of the refugees came to the system, and they went specifically to Aramis, Vega 2, because that's where like military bases were. And so because it was on the border with the Vanduul space now, a bunch of the businesses just left Vega 3 because they didn't want to get invaded. And so Vega 3 fell into disrepair. Well, Vega 2 actually rose in population, became the biggest populated planet, but it's mostly made up of refugees and military bases. So it's very ad hoc. They've kind of built up. New Corvo, I believe, is the capital city, and it's slowly been improving over the last 200 years. So,
Archangel, this is Krugeri.
Come back, Gary.
Redirect to sector 7 Bravo Echo for immediate tasking.
Copy that. On our way.
In position, holding now. Understood. Stand by for further orders. All
I love
flags.
this music.
Bishop wants to lose formation on our battles so we don't clump up. Copy that.
All right. I wanted to let the music play. That music is called by the composer himself the Hymn of the UEE Navy. So it is very old. It dates back to 2380. I'll pull some stuff out here.
Copy that.
Arch 7 Bravo Echo.
Idris class frigate. This is a Integrity class cruiser. Idris class frigate. This is over here is a Aegis of Javelin class destroyer. Aegis Hammerhead. RSI Bengal supercarrier. Well, main battle carrier. And you can see this over here looks like it's going to be a one of the unknown escort carriers. Same with this over here. You can see these out because they've got these big guns on them, probably size 9s or size 10s, but from the looks of them, similar to what you see in the main battery of a Javelin, but more. And these are in the front. These hammerheads are in the front because they are designed for fleet screening. They usually are roaming ahead of the fleet to help protect against errant fighters and torpedoes that come in. So we'll see them being used, a full box of them being used later in the battle. But yeah, so this is above Vega 2. So this is a planet that has about 2 billion people on board, most of them descendants of refugees from Virgil. So most of these people are, 2 or 3 generations, probably longer, away from their families fleeing the destruction of their own homeworld that they had been living on for 14 generations. Virgil was one of the first planets that humanity settled. So we're looking at Vega as kind of the edge of the core worlds. So it's very close to Earth. Only 2 or 3 jumps away from Sol. Vega is. So like Vega cannot fall. That's when Bishop is making that speech, it's like, yeah, they cannot fail. If they fail here, it is very, very bad for everybody.
Scimitar, reposition for heading 038. Copy that. Adjusting heading now. Reaper Squadron. Thanks for joining us.
That's the Krugeri, and the Reaper Squadron, we don't know who that is. I'm secretly hoping, because I'm a big mecha fan, I'm secretly hoping that Reaper Squadron is a reference to possibly, hopefully, the Skull Squadron from Macross, or AKA the Jolly Roger Squadron from the actual U.S. Navy. I'd love to see that because I want that livery, CIG. I want that livery in Star Citizen. Jolly Rogers, yeah.
What's your sit rep? In position, holding now. Understood. Stand by for further orders. All flanks. Bishop wants to lose formation on our battle so we don't clump up. Copy that.
So you can see a better look of the sort of escort carrier style down here. They mentioned Bishop. Admiral Bishop is the admiral of the Second Fleet. Javelin class destroyer, UES Gauntlet. All javelins are named after various pieces of ancient, medieval, or ancient gear. Gauntlet, scimitar. I'm sure we know there's Warhammer, the Fleisa. I'm sure there's the longsword, the UES Javelin, obviously was the first one. Probably UES Roundel, UES, any kind of like melee weapon or device will probably be javelins, because there's a lot of javelins. There are 3 different flights of javelins, and they've been built since 2690. So this current year is 2945, and these things are still in service, but they're not just like, oh, this is the same thing. These have been retrofitted and changed over time. These are the equivalent of a modern U.S. Navy Aegis class destroyer. Very like nimble, they're very flexible, and they often will be on their own compared to, with some small support rather than necessarily part of a fleet, but you'll also catch them with part of a fleet a lot. So, Krugeri, yeah. So all Bengals are named after cats, feline species on Earth. So Krugeri is a type of now extinct northern lion, North African lion. So. See also the Royal Navy's weapon class frigates. I'm sure that's the inspiration.
I know I just wrote you, but a couple of hours ago, proximity sensors on the other side of the jump got twigged and went dark.
All right, I'm going to do the annoying thing. So they have a ship chat. I'm going to see if I can't read it. Just a reminder that our current preparedness level forbids discussing any operational information outside the ship. I know I'm off duty, but I can't sleep. So let me know if anybody needs help with anything. You should rest. We're in this for the long haul, and we need everyone firing on all cylinders. Easier said than done, sir. Well, try. It's T. Quancia and then R. Molly. So we may see them again. On the left here, we see Voyager Direct. That is we'll get a little closer look here, but that is the in-game equivalent of, say, Amazon. They're a major retailer that sells a bunch of stuff. So.
The word is it might be that clan that we've been battling with.
Okay. Yeah, so this is Amazon. Today's hottest deals. Navy Veterans Association. Write to your senator about the Polo Initiative. We'll talk about that here in a moment. The Central Core Bank is the bank that controls the UEC, or United Earth Credit, which is the main currency of the UEE. UE Naval Performance Personnel Records, Flight Academy Application Confirmation. This says you have confirmed. This is to confirm your application to the Flight Academy. Satiball today. So Satiball is a zero-G sport played by the UE. It's one of the most popular pastimes in the UEE. It has multiple possible origins, but it is played often in orbital domes with two teams trying to take a ball and score it in another goal. We don't know the direct rules, but a lot of those rules are based off of Australian rules football. So very similar to that. Michael Karn, Starman UEE, catch up this summer. So this is obviously your friend, Michael Karn, who's a Starman, who wants to talk with you. And Coalition for Military Oversight need your support. This is probably also maybe an anti-Polo initiative or pro-Polo initiative, and this is definitely anti-Polo initiative. And this is a letter. Notice a couple hours ago, proximity centers on the other side of the jump got twigged and went dark. Word is it might be Ken we've been battling with.
I guess that last fight didn't scare them off quite like we all hoped it would. Honestly, we've been out here so long, I don't know what to pull for anymore. I just wanted to let you know. I'll write as soon as I can. Stay safe.
Basically, you're writing to your emergency contact because you don't know if you're going to come out of this alive. Anybody in the military has probably written one of these letters. Everyone treats them a little differently. Some people write them as jokes. Some people write them as super serious. But they're all you've seen, if you've been in the military, in any military service, you've had to write one of these letters at some point. So, and we'll actually see that again. I'm also against polo shirts. We'll talk about the Polo Initiative here because it's actually named after the Senator Polo. So if Bengals are named after cats, does that mean there's a UES tabby? Possibly. There are also, I think they're all supposed to be named after big cats. So there's probably like UES Snow Leopard and UES Bengal. That was the first one, is UES Bengal, which is named after, the Bengal. Orange Idiot. Yeah. Probably UES Wildcat, UES Bobcat, that kind of stuff. So UES Jaguar. Yeah. Sphinx, Hobbs, Purin, Sphinx, Hobbs. I get it. Captain Fish Sticks. That's the Krugari.
Never gets old, does it?
Sir.
Eddie's.
McLaren.
I used to do the same thing when I was first coming up. Post up to the flight deck whenever I could to watch the launches. Have you seen the F-8s up close?
No, sir.
Notice that he has his name tag on here. Whatever your last name is going to be written there. So you want to be Ensign Dick Butt, you're going to have Butt written on your stuff.
The thing's a beast. Nimble, too.
12 maneuvering thrusters and 3 mains. It sure sounds like it. Sir.
I did see a lot of people giving shit about this. They're like, sir, why are you calling it sir? You know, it's like every military has its different things. Every universe has its different rules. What was the one I just recently saw that had that sort of like sir sort of situation? The Orville. No matter who you are, if you're in command, you were called sir, like for that kind of stuff. So I saw some people giving CIG Raz about it, but I'm like, it's a trope. B, it happens a lot. So I've heard the affirmation. You address the rank, not the person, or something to that effect. You salute the rank, not the person. Janeway preferred to be called Captain.
Captain McLaren to the bridge. Captain McLaren to the bridge.
I saw you apply to the Flight Academy again.
Yes, sir.
Keep your head up. Took me a couple times before I got in.
Thank you, sir.
Couple subtle things. This is just storytelling. I watched a great video that recently, which broke down this from a filmmaker's perspective. And they had some critique, but they really liked it and overall. And he noticed all of the tricks they were using, which is classic cinema tricks, like close-ups, dolly shots, all these sorts of things for using that. The close-up was designed to make you understand through the language of cinema that she trusts you, she likes you, you are in her good graces, because you don't have that close-up intimate shot without feel like you knowing the character. The dialogue is written for you to tell that the fact that she knows you applied to the Flight Academy again means that she's seeing you as a potential officer recruit. She sees potential in you, which is why she was going down to visit you in there, because she probably got confirmation that you applied and went to go looking for you and to kind of talk with you. But why? Is it ever explained why? There is actually an explanation in the future chapters. It is explained, but it's I don't want to ruin it. There's a lot of backstory too. So she's spoken to you, the audience, and therefore the main character in this instance. Yeah. The video is great because he had no idea what the project was. He coming in cold. Yeah, you know what I'm talking about. Yeah.
All gunners. Get your gear and report to your turret. Repeat, all gunners to your turrets.
So if you could tell, you're a gunner aboard the Gauntlet. Yeah, Kai Zeman, thank you. He just recently put it out there a couple of days ago. It's pretty good. do you know so much? So I'll reiterate this. I've spoiled myself in this entire story multiple times, and the fact that I'm so, you know, like neck deep in Star Citizen lore, I was able to find a lot of stuff. CIG has spoiled a lot of the story of this game multiple times, and they have leaked the story and aspects like video and audio of the story multiple times. So I have accidentally spoiled myself many times in my years of looking through Star Citizen stuff. So I know these things because I know the whole story of Squadron 42. And I do try not to like ruin everything. But if you look over here at the top left, by the way, you see the little dotted icon. So it's actually telling you where to go, which I think is neat.
Oh snap, I forgot to tell.
Little touch there. That's the commanding officer who just walked by. You didn't see it. That's why they're like, they want to talk some scuttlebutt, and they want to talk, little gossip, but the commanding officer's walking by, so you shut up. You do not talk about that stuff around the commanding officer. So.
Talked to Watkins in logistics, and he said the recon team was wiped out.
Really? Then why are we sitting here?
That's not the commanding officer. He must be on the lookout for the commanding officer.
Stupid. If they know we know, they would have hit us by now.
Hey, they can take as much time as they want. The longer they wait, more of a chance to
hit us by now.
Really? I talked to Watkins in logistics, and he said the recon team was wiped out.
Really? Then why are we sitting here? Van Dulan's stupid. If they know we know, they would have hit us by now.
Hey, they can take as much time as they want. The longer they wait, more of a chance the 42s to get back.
Well, they can hit whenever.
So, little hit. They sent out a recon squad. That squad has not come back. Rumor is it's completely destroyed, which means that the Vanduul are now in there. We, based off the letter, we know that they're here. I kind of forgot to mention this, but there are on the other side of the jump point to Vega, there are sensors. Those sensors constantly update through the jump point through their various means we haven't been explained by. But those sensors will send information back to sensors on the other side of the jump point, so we know what's going on. And obviously, some of these sensors have been gone dark, which means they've been destroyed. The Vanduul like to mess with them all the time, and sometimes they try to destroy them if they can't. But if they can't, then and it's actually pretty dangerous. One of the jobs of the senator from Elysian, the Sujkosi, who's the senator from the Tavaran homeworld, one of his jobs when he was in the Navy was to fly a Vanguard through the jump point in Vega to check those early warning sensors to like fix them. It's like suicide stuff. Like you're going into enemy territory to fix buoys to then come back, sort of thing. So we'll talk about Vanguards when they show up. I don't think they show up in this video. They're long range fighters. So,
hey,
but yeah, what they said was they're they can take as long. So like obviously the Vanduul know that they're here. They both sides know they're there. The UE Navy, the Second Fleet knows that the Vanduul have entered Vega, and the Vanduul know that the Second Fleet knows they're there. So that's why he's like, why? They're not stupid. They know we're here. We're going to attack, because that's what the Vanduul do. They are very aggressive. They go for glory. So he's kind of wondering, like, why aren't they just attacking? That's what they do. Whereas our buddy here basically says, oh, no, like, we can, like, they can take as long as they want until 42s show up, because the 42s, Squadron 42, who is this elite squadron of special pilots who are really good at what they do, they are out. So apparently they're on patrol, according to the scuttlebutt. So.
Hey, there you are.
Hey.
Where's your helmet?
Can't gun without it.
Come on.
Rookie mistake.
I gotta get to my turret.
Got to go up.
Jacobs told me the Vanduul tried to board ships, and I haven't been able to sleep since.
I heard from my buddy over on the bench.
So yeah, they talk about, like, they try to board ships. One of the Vanduul don't like to destroy ships via ship-to-ship combat. They much prefer boarding and seizing the ship through force. If they can board a ship and take it, they will. And one of the advantages that the Vanduul have is that they can survive in the vacuum of space, or at least a short period of time. So they don't, if a ship gets like spaced and disabled, they can still survive for some point before they get recovered. So that is their main operandi. And you've seen already from the chat and from other people talking about it, like they're on they're nervous because they know that if they get into a fight, they're probably going to get boarded. And if they get boarded, they're going to have to fight the Vanduul, who are 7 feet tall and armored, naturally armored, and love to get into melee combat. So it'd be like, hey, you know you're going to get attacked, and not just attacked, but also probably boarded, and a 7 foot tall light tank is going to be coming at you with a spear to try to stab you through the chest with it. You probably didn't sign up for the Navy to deal with that.
I heard we aren't getting any reinforcements.
So this is Vega under lockdown. So this is you can see civilians are being moved into bunkers. This is probably a Marine here. Imperator calls for cuts. This is talking about the Polo Initiative because there's a problem. We'll talk about it here when we go through the Polo Initiative discussion here. Yeah. Vega 2. Oh, Vega. Let me back it up a little bit. So one of the things that's happened recently is Vega 2 has had a huge amount of population. And because it's become so important dealing with the Vanduul, one of the things that's been agitated for is that while the UEE controls Vega, Vega does not have representation in the Senate. So it's at this time when Vega was advocating for itself to become represented in the Senate, because they already have they're an important kind of bulwark against the Vanduul, and they've been around for a very long time. So there's been an argument in the Senate to bring Vega in as a represented system, specifically Vega 2 as a represented planet. Now, once you have representation in the Senate, it means you have a lot more power and say in what can be done, because very few systems actually have representation in the Senate. Mostly the core worlds do. So this is effectively, they're trying to become a core world, but there's a discussion about it because, of course, there's this invasion which has been going on. So
send them through, right? We've been getting tuned up for weeks.
It's this Polo Initiative horse shit. High Command's been freaking out about having to make cuts, so everybody's taking hits. Winslow and the Banshee told me they got denied on extra ammo for their main gun. Almost like the suits on Earth 1 attack.
So he's talking about the Polo Initiative. So in early 2944, 2945, Senator Polo from Terra, I believe, was wanting to advocate for improvements in the infrastructure of the UEE. The problem is that the UEE is a very old empire and it's falling apart. And every time they tried to get funding for paying for new infrastructure projects, like new space stations, new homes, new hospitals, new roads, new schools, these sorts of things, they found that they always came up short. And Polo kept finding out and kept bringing up the fact that the military has a gigantic budget and they never have to take any cuts. Whenever it comes to cuts, it's always the civilian side of the government that has to eat the cuts. So civilians suffer while the military never has to deal with anything. So Polo, together with a bunch of other senators, crafted up a plan to basically audit the military. They wanted to go through the military and say, hey, what do you have? What do you absolutely need? And what do you not need? We're going to go through this and we're going to make sure you have cuts. The military, being its own branch of the government, has a lot of rights. They have a lot of rights and a lot of power. So they dragged their feet. They have been dragging their feet, stonewalling wherever they can, or outright refusing, telling the Senate to do it themselves if they want it so bad. So Polo finally said, enough of this. and had threatened to put his initiative up to a vote for a long time, which was gaining support because the military was pissing off the Senate, because a lot more and more senators felt like the military was just thumbing their nose at the government. And so more and more senators were like, cool, we're just going to cut your funding. We give you your funding. We'll just cut it entirely. So the Polo Initiative was a attempt to cut budgets of the military and redirect those funds to the civilian sectors. And of course, the military is freaking out about it. And so the Polo Initiative on October 5th, the Polo Initiative was set to be voted on this day, right before the Battle of Vega 2. So it's important what he said. It's almost like High Command wants an attack. Almost like High Command wants an attack. There is a conspiracy theory that either Bishop or the High Command knew this attack was going to come and intentionally let it happen, or aggravated it in some way to encourage the attack by the Vanduul so they could get their funding. Vanduul seems squishy in the gameplay. We'll see it. We'll see how it works out. And then a few days later, Bishop speaks in the Senate. Yeah. Basically, at the end of after the Battle of Vega, the Polo Initiative is dead. It's absolutely dead. It definitely needs tweaking, I think, for this, because it seemed like the enemies were a little easy to kill. And everyone's like, well, Rich is really good. It's like, Rich isn't that good. I don't care how good Rich is. He still made up a lot of mistakes. The Vanduul shouldn't be dying based off of the own lore that they came up with. The Vanduul shouldn't be dying to like 2 shots. They should be dying to like damn near half a mag. But yeah. There were WDs in the Vanduul fleet, sort of. Yeah. It's their lore. They are a tank. And they made up that lore. It's not like something we invented, like as fans. They kind of came up with it. It's like, keep it up with that. This is a tutorial level. Yes, but it's also on the highest difficulty. And I'd argue that if at the highest difficulty, you need to tell your players who are at the highest difficulty what your game is going to be like. So tutorial is one thing, but it needs to be better. Yeah. All right, let's keep going. You recognize these from the kind of title level?
Show Lost Squad.
Are they seriously doing another show about the fall of Caliban?
Supposedly out next year.
Squadron 89, Logistics Squadron. They were the only one in charge of defending Caliban for some stupid reason. And Caliban was a system bordering the Vanduul space. Everyone thought that Vega was next, so no one put a lot of defensive fortifications on Caliban. Again, for some reason. Likely military incompetence, because we're talking just after the fall of the Mezzers, where there was this huge sort of problem. Supposedly out next year, yeah. There's this huge issues where like the revolution happens, they overthrow the Mezzers. They don't really reform anything, they just kick out the Mezzers. But they also have to like purge the entirety of the Navy and the entire military structure of Mezzer loyalists to put in their own people. So this causes a drag where the military is basically combat ineffective for like years. And in the process, they've completely removed all contracts with Aegis Dynamics. So they have to build in new companies to help make and maintain the fleet. but it takes time for you to spin up a logistics network to create something like, I don't know, a Bengal carrier or a F-7A Hornet. And so in that time period, there's a bit of a who gets protection, and the people who get protection are obviously the people who pay the most taxes, who are the core worlds. So the core worlds get the protection and the border worlds do not. So the only people who were there to defend Caliban was a logistics squadron, Squadron 89. So when Caliban was attacked by the Vanduul, they were the only thing standing between an entire population of billions and destruction. The reason why they're called the Lost Squad is because they died to the single person. There was only one surviving member of the Squadron 89, a single survivor. They fought for a week to try to allow the civilians to evacuate the system. Most of their ships were made up of Terrapin Scouts. Anvil Aerospace's Terrapin Scouts. Not exactly the heaviest guns in the Navy. Very, very weak, but heavily armored, but very weak in terms of firepower. So they managed to hold off or redirect the Vanduul from their attacks until the UES Warhammer showed up. And the Warhammer famously stayed at the jump point, covering the fleeing civilians, and fired its weapons so rapidly that it warped the superstructure of the Javelin. They learned a lot about how to better insulate, how to better cool Javelin destroyers. I think Flight 3s or Flight 4s were built after this as a result because of this fight. The Javelin for the Warhammer is actually now on station in the Stanton system, which is where Star Citizen currently is. So, yeah. So they're making a show called Lost Squad, which is a dramatization of the fall of Caliban and the 89th Squadron's last stand. So. Okay.
Take him to Lake Perrin. He's old enough, and teach him what I taught you. And do me a favor. Hug your mom. Whatever you can.
That's one of those letters. He's writing home. He's talking to his daughter. If you caught it, say, get your brother, teach him everything I taught you. Hug your mom whenever you can. He is writing a last letter because he thinks he's going to die. Let me give you some context. For those of you who are not familiar with the Vanduul, no UEE system has ever successfully fended off a Vanduul invasion. It has never happened. Every time the Vanduul have showed up, eventually that system falls. And the larger the fleet, the higher the chance that system will fall faster. Not a single system has survived the Vanduul invasion. So they know that this Vanduul clan has entered the Vega system. They know they're the only thing standing between Vega and the Vanduul. And not a single UEE fleet has ever beaten a Vanduul fleet. They are all going to die. They are, at this point, like, other than adrenaline and piss and vinegar and optimism and hope, the reality is that the chances are they're all going to die. So. Little pump up music.
Hey. All set? Hey, you get any sleep last night? Yeah, me neither.
Summit is your hub, yeah. Enhanced. It looks like they're catching some of the local.
Oh, bad news. I heard Goofy was assigned to your rig for this last shift, so brace yourself. Your controls are gonna be screwed.
This is Captain McLaren. Sitcon upgraded to orange. All reserve personnel get to your stations.
Looks like this could be it. Hey.
Of course, the Scotsman is. I'm getting sick of waiting. I'm here to die. I'm sorry. I just. I love the angry Scot. I'm gonna die. I want to die fast. Groundskeeper Willie over here. I wonder if Goofy lives through the battle. It's in my head canon. Goofy lives through the battle. In my head canon, Goofy becomes an admiral.
Good luck. See you up there.
Okay, Corel, 1135. Or Molly. Okay, no, it's not the same one. Because they said specifically I couldn't sleep because he said, yeah, I can't sleep either earlier. So like multiple people can't sleep.
Good luck. See you up there. You got it.
Light spoiler because it was already in a in a cutscene or in the in the vertical slice, but when you get assigned later to another ship, there's at least a couple of folks on the ship who look up to you. A lot of folks look up to you because you survived the Battle of Vega, and so they're like a lot of them have never seen combat. So when you walk in as a pilot who is known because of your actions during the Battle of Vega, and also the fact that you were a gunner before becoming a pilot, a lot of the folks on the Stanton, the UES Stanton, where you get assigned, kind of like, especially the lower enlisted classes, look up to you. So you often interact with them through those means, including the gunners, who will kind of like give you a thumbs up and kind of give you razz and stuff like that. So.
God damn it, Goofy, get the hell out of there! So glad you could join us.
By the way, this is when the guy morphs his face morphs, it's literally morphing into your commanding officer here.
I want you calibrated and ready to fire in 5 here.
Star Citizen's version of Sergeant Stacker. Yeah, you're not commanding officer, you're weapons officer, thank you. Pretty cool they have the bridge call whistle, yeah.
I don't know how the hell Goofy uses this thing with those settings. I'm just gonna do a full reset so you can get operational.
P.O. Moreland.
Just follow the on-screen instructions for the calibration program.
What does P.O. stand for?
Start with tracking. Since we're out here hunting a Vandal clan...
Something officers... Petty officer. Oh, petty officer. Petty officer Moreland, okay.
I'll load up one of their ships for you to follow.
So he's an NCO.
All right. You should be all set for controlling your turret. Next up, they'll test your firing mechanics. The system projects simulated rounds, so don't worry about friendly fire.
those are Stingers right there. You see them little side here. Ooh, M9As, baby.
Looking good. Last thing we need to do is verify your targeting. I'll load up a larger Vandal ship for you to practice targeting specific parts of the enemy.
Petty officer in the Navy, yeah. Those are Vulpers.
Okay, your targeting is tracking solid, so that should do it. Checking the other gunners, and they seem to be up as well. Everyone up? Marcus, test your tilt. System says it's ticking.
Moving out, sir. Seems fine to me.
Good. All right, people.
STR stands for stone.
Mouth shut.
I love this.
Any idea what's happening, sir?
You covering your sector and staying off comms. At least that's what should be happening.
My money's still on the drill.
What'd I just say?
Sorry, sir.
He wasn't showing up in there, by the way.
About time.
Shut up.
Those are Panthers.
Attention, Second Fleet. This is Admiral Bishop. For 6 months now, we have faced an elusive enemy determined to see the Empire burn and every human with it. There have been battles. There have been losses. Each and every one of you has proven yourself time and again, but today I must ask for more. Today, we fight one last battle. Advanced recon indicates the entire Vandal fleet has just entered the system.
So that was
this means a king ship is headed our way.
Size 5, okay.
Now some of you will
They're
not survive
AD5
today,
BS, oh, okay.
but there will be no time for sorrow. We will have to grieve for them later. Because 2 billion souls in this system hang in the balance. There should be no illusions about what we were up against. In the history of the UEE, a kingship has entered human space a handful of times.
Kingships, whenever a kingship enters a system, the system falls. So Vandal have invaded before in raids, but when a large fleet shows up, they rarely are able to fight them off. And when a kingship shows up, no one's ever beaten it. The kingships only show up when they believe, when the Vandal believe that the system they're striking is at its weakest, and they're going to attack it. The idea that the Vandal, there's a lot of misconceptions that the Vandal are in the community, that the Vandal are some sort of like noble, honorable race. They are not a noble nor an honorable race. They don't care. They will stab you in your sleep if you're not paying attention. They raid all the time. They're more akin to something like the Vikings. Like they have their own central code, but their code is I want to win. It's their main code. So, going in, kill everyone, and do less I guess less Vikings, because Vikings at least would take like slaves and stuff like that. But that sort of mentality, that sort of direction. So.
Battle of Orion, Siege of Tiber, the Fall of Caliban.
Do we know that normal size defense fleet or one assembled to defend against a kingship?
History will remember us differently.
This is likely not the full assembled fleet, second fleet. This is what's called a battle group. Battle groups are usually commanded by a vice admiral, and I believe Admiral Bishop is a full admiral. This is his flag. The Krugari is his flag, but this is not the full assembled might. Likely, this is just the battle group which was on station when the Vandal twigged the sensors. So they were hastily called to defend, with other fleets probably rushing in right now to try to defend it. But they are definitely not full strength fleet, because a battle group has a Bengal at its center. There's only one Bengal in this battle group, which means that this is only a single battle group, not multiples. So, Visigoths to Rome then, they're literally called the Vandul. CIG's terrible at naming things. They're the Vandals. So, yeah.
We will not have to...
There are not two Bengals. There's only one Bengal. The other ones you see are all Integrity class cruisers.
Sorry about it being...
Which are variants of the Bengal, but they're not Bengals. I think they're cut down versions.
Kind, because today we will define ourselves through our actions.
Sucking himself up.
We will not lose the system. We will not fall back. We will win because we have to. We fight today. So in 40 years from now, when you're surrounded by everything and everyone you hold dear, and they ask, what did you do in the Battle of Vega? You can look them in the eye and say, I held the line. Men and women of the Second Fleet, I am proud to stand with you today. Good luck. Bishop out.
Nice speech.
Any word from the recon team?
Not yet.
Let's get into position.
So if you notice this fleet, here we go. Grab catapults. So this looks like to be about a flight of fighters. Yeah, 3. It's flight. F-7As. So for this how you can differentiate a Bengal versus these variants are these top nacelles. The top nacelles are missing in all of the variants. So if it has 4 nacelles, it's a Bengal, and this is the only Bengal that's in the hologlobe that we see. So. Notice how this Javelin, Idris Javelin, this is looks like it's a battle cruiser, but you notice it's missing the top nacelles, but it has the bottom nacelles that are very similar. So this is probably a battle cruiser or a cruiser variant. Here's a big wider angle of the fleet. You don't see any... See, this looks like a Bengal, but there's no top nacelles. No top nacelles. These are javelins, Idrises, and you can't really see. That's a javelin. That's a javelin. Those are javelins. That makes sense. They're cheaper to build. Another good wide shot. So based off of this looks like a high strength battle group. And I believe they talk about when he goes go. There's actually a little bit more information here. So it's high strength for a battle group because typically you only have 4 destroyers and maybe 1 or 2 cruisers. There's at least 3 or 4 cruisers here and probably 6 destroyers. And a lot of Idrises. Those are considered support craft, so there's usually a lot in a battle group. There's no minimum amount for support ships, but yeah. So is Mark Strong's Bishop's XO, or is he the captain of the Bengal? I believe he is the captain of the Bengal. I think he's still his XO because I don't know how military works typically, and I think from my understanding, when an admiral has a flag on a ship, it's his ship, and there might be a captain who's in charge of that ship, but the admiral's really in charge of that ship. I think that's the way it's supposed to work. Yeah. Snap zooms, watching too much BSG. So he says move out, and they're moving away from the planet. because the arrival of the Vanduul, what they're likely what their goal is at this point is to try to shield the Vanduul from being able to break through. So they know generally where the Vanduul are coming from. They know the Vanduul will come after them, but they also know the Vanduul's ultimate goal is to land troops on the surface to begin killing off and bombing and then killing off any of the civilian populations to control the resources on the planet. So they're basically partially goading the Vanduul to attack them by assembling a full force towards them, and also acting as a wall between the Vanduul approaches and the surface. Now, if this was a Tavaran fleet, they'd be fucked because the Tavaran do not fight like this. They fight through raids. So in fact, if anything, what Bishop pulls here is a Tavaran move by attacking, by goading a main force into attacking them full force, while then sending a flanking maneuver around with lighter ships to attack on undefended areas. So why do they defend here and not at the jump point? Likely because attacking at the jump point, they don't have any room to spare, and sitting at the jump point, it would be sort of like, first off, they didn't know that they were coming to the jump point until it was too late, probably. And second of all, approaching the jump point at this point, they don't know where they are. Because that's why they sent out a recon team. So they generally have an idea of where they were, but they probably didn't know exactly where they were. But they did know where they were going to go, because the Vanduul were almost certainly going to attack Vega 2, since it's the highest populated planet. And the Vanduul aren't stupid; they know these sorts of things. And this isn't the first Vanduul raid into Vega 2. Vega 2 is a popular place to raid for the Vanduul, though they don't get very far because it's a big military installation. So. Captain are not XOs to a fleet. It would be a lower admiral, usually a rear admiral. Okay. And they could have easily been using a temporary jump point as well, because they call the wandering, the transient jump points, which do happen around jump points as well. Similar to the Japanese fleet being lost during World War II before Pearl. Yeah, this is. If you couldn't guess this. This is very Pearl Harbor coded in all of the ways.
Fleet, hold fire until my mark.
I think these are called Bobs. Is the current nickname for them in the community. They're gunships. So there's twofold. One of the things, these are F7As, but this, I'm gonna back up a little bit. This, I'll back up even more, because let's see this. Likely, back it up. Frame by frame. These are likely the Kugari's cap. So combat air patrol. This is probably their combat air patrol, which is why they're sticking so close, because they're there to fight off any fighters that get too close to them. And this hammerhead, as you see, it's moving. It's because it's moving into position. These hammerheads will move ahead of the fleet as an enemy approaches, specifically to screen out fighters and torpedoes that are fired at long range. They kind of act as an intercept force. That's why it's kind of at the edge of the fleet and towards the front. You see a lot of them around there because that's their job. Also probably part of their cap, the F7As, or the F8Cs, F8As. So we see the Krugari, the Integrity, which is one of the capital ships, one of the things we see. Scythes. These are the Vanduul-sized medium fighters, the primary fighters.
Strip safeties from the Goliath. We'll have to hit him close. I want him live on launch.
Goliath. Those are called Goliath Bearing Goliath shipbusters. They're railguns which fire at...
Strip safeties from the Goliath. We'll have to hit them close. I want them live on launch.
They're Goliath shipbuster arrays. So these weapons are designed to core a unshielded cruiser. So one of these could go through a Vanduul cruiser through and through without shields, just instantly kill one. The problem is they require firing solutions, and they are very power intensive because they fire railguns at incredible projectiles at incredible speeds. So a transient jump point would have sensors on the other side. Wouldn't have sensors on the other side. Transients are very they're temperamental. So unless they were nearby, the sensors are basically proximity sensors. So they have a general idea, but they wouldn't have direct sensors. No. Captain Bishop's flag officer. Okay, that makes sense. I do want to find more lore about the new Vanduul ships. We don't know a lot because most of it is in verse is classified. The Stinger, the Volper, the Blade, the Scythe, and the Glaive. So yeah. The Navy tried a railgun. They damaged the ship's hull. Yeah, like when this thing fires at the King ship, you can see it has some connection power, but not a lot because the King ships are just so big. Can I see a Drake roll it in after the smoke that has settled and to steal the King ship's main gun for duct tape with one of their Krakens? Yeah. Fleets cover more than one system. Yes, in Star Citizen's lore, a fleet is a region. So when you see the second fleet's in charge of an entire region. It's probably the Vega or the Eastern region. They have different names. So the fleet itself is spread out over multiple systems, probably over 2 or 3 different systems, each with its own battle group involved. And obviously Vega is a big important system, so it's likely where the fleet, because the flag is there. So, and there's also multiple military bases on Vega too. I think there's like 2 army bases, a Navy base, and a Marine base. So it's a logistical hub. So that's where the Navy is going to be headquartered, is right outside the logistical hub. So. What's UE's equivalent of hypersonic missiles? Size 10 or size 11 capital torpedoes. So yeah. What's the one on the Javelin? Size 11 or size 12 anti-capital ship?
What are they waiting for?
I know everyone hates that guy, that weapons officer. Everyone hates him. It's understandable. It's a trope. You're supposed to hate him. He's supposed to be a coward, and also supposed to be a guy you can so you can see how scary the Vanduul are. Are F8s only reserved for the best pilots in the Navy? I'm curious as how a character will get to fly one. Squad 42. Yeah, 12. So. That. As far as I know, Bishop is the commander of the Second Fleet. Because he's a full admiral, and full admirals are in command. But yes, this is a kingship. You're about to see its scope. That's not even its full size. That's just its front. Not even its full size. It goes further back. You can still see it in the back right there too. Fun fact, this is Vanduul chanting.
I thought it would be bigger.
There we go, we get the full size there. Back it up a little bit. There's the tail there, so you can see it. It is gigantic. These ships are thought to be the main kind of motherships for a Vanduul clan. Very few clans actually have one of these. The thing about the Vanduul is that they're decentralized. So there's not one single Vanduul kind of government. They're made up of various warring clans that'll fight amongst each other for power. So clans that have a kingship are clans that are led by very, very powerful leaders. And these leaders are been proven through multiple battles, probably dozens, if not hundreds of battles to prove that they are that strong. Because the Vanduul are theorized to kick out their young once they reach maturity. So they get removed from the clan and are forced to survive on their own. So when they get there, they come back. So yeah. It's about 2 kilometers long, whereas a Bengal is about 1 kilometer. So it's two times the size of a Bengal. They could also be bigger. They look like they're bigger now, but yeah. So them losing a kingship is a big statement. It is a huge statement. There has never been a single kingship lost that has been recorded in human history. So you flying that javelin into the side of it is like unprecedented. And you're not some chosen one. You're just a guy or gal, whatever. You're just a normal human. You're not the Spectre that's going to save the universe. You're not the Master Chief. You're just Starman McNobody. And you flew a javelin into the side of one of these things to beat it. The kingship is bigger than Retribution, but only by a little bit. You got lucky. Yeah. The concept had a giant harpoon. I think they replaced that with these energy spikes. So. Andy Serkis. Not even joking. That's true. They are not naked anymore. I think it's probably they wanted to change it up a little bit. It could also be that it's just mostly ceremonial armor, that it's not actually functional. Do they mate? We do not know we don't know how they reproduce. We've only ever found male specimens of the Vanduul. We've never found children or females, so we don't know. I think they still grow, yeah. Showing King at 3,000 meters and Retribution is 2,700 if this is accurate. There's a lot of stuff that's changed in the past, so we don't know how much that's evolved. Do they have a penis? We don't know, but we do know they biologically have male, and they have biologically male, which means that we think that there are female species, but we don't have a lot of information about their biology.
Ship's locked, sir.
The biology is also traced through their mitochondrial DNA, which Jail, if you get look at our Lore Citizen episode on the Vanduul, because Jail is who is a scientist, like a biochemist, I believe. He was excited about it because it means they have mitochondria. Why do they have mitochondria? Which is super rare. So, it would be weird to have the mitochondria in an alien species. So,
fleet's ready.
Stand by.
This image. These might be blades. No, they're scythes. They're scythes. Such a cool visual. Classic Vanduul attack strategy. Based off the lore, they love their light fighters. They come in with fighter skirmishes to try to weaken up to soften up targets, and then slowly bring in their big guns afterwards. So because they prefer a war of attrition over a punch. Once they've softened you up, then they'll punch you, but they got to soften you up first. Those are blades. I love this visual too.
Fire!
This is my favorite scene coming up. And there's the cow. The combination of the Vandal chanting and the UE fleet, Sith fleet. I love this. This is exactly what the Hammerheads were designed to do. This specific thing. Look at those PDCs working.
Multiple contacts inbound.
Got one! I got one!
Good kill.
Remember I said the Warhammer fired until its guns melted the superstructure? This is what I mean. You can just see the pure amount of firepower one turret can bring to bear. There are 10 of them? Not to mention its main gun battery. Hey, there we go.
Oh, he's incoming! Get him! Get him!
So these are the Gladius equivalents. One of the ships you fly later in the game.
Now that's how you do it! Good job, all. Stay focused. Tracking enemy sides. Light him up.
If you notice, one of the things that seems to be happening is it looks like the fleet is actually moving forward. So the humans are pressing forward slightly through the cloud of the fighters. The UE is at least. And these are sides.
Good kill. Good job, people. Scope spin. Goblet, I've got bogeys I can't shake. I need a brush off.
This is one of the Kugari's.
All right, gunners, protect our fighters. Tracking target.
Kugari's cap there.
Can't hold out much longer. Damn it, gunners, take out those duels. Thanks for the help, Copter. You got it. Get back in there. Will do.
Kozak. See this right here. CV-338 carrier commander UES Krugari. Corvus Argus. Morning Star. Let's see. CV stands for the. They're using the U.S. Navy designations for a lot of these. CV stands for carrier. So it's the 38th or CV-38. Let me see. I'm going to pull it up because I actually have some notes here that kind of pull this up. Brings up the Naval Order of Battle. This is Carrier Battle Group 65. We've got the CV-38 UES Krugeri, the CVL-425 UES Argus. It's actually called BB, I believe is one of these, which is the Raiden. I don't see it in here, which is BB-268. And then we've got the Corvus and the Integrity. We know that the Integrity is a cruiser, and it's called CA-391. Captain G. We have the Javelin class. We have 5 destroyers that are identified. UES Gauntlet, Captain Rachel McLaren. UES Broadsword, DD-397, Captain V. Wadham. DD-845, UES Tomahawk, Captain A. Kamadi. DD-1320, UES Morningstar, Captain W. Turner. DD-632, UES Scimitar, Captain D. Ruth. Then we have 5 frigates, all Idris class. UES Hadrian, FF-810. UES Banshee, FF-226, Captain B. Marks. FF-174, UES Magnus, Captain A. Mountcastle. FF-1101, UES Redders, Captain S. Patel. FF-1572, UES Ellis, Captain D. T. Donica. Plus at least 5 recognized Hammerhead corvettes. Plus 3 additional destroyers, 1 additional cruiser or light carrier, 1 additional cruiser, and 3 additional frigates is somewhere inside here as well. CA is cruiser armored. Okay, so armored cruiser. There is apparently a battleship in here, which I do not see, but...
August, shift your position back and drift 8 degrees off X-axis. That should bring that Moiler into your field of fire. Corvus...
BB right here. That does not look like a battleship, though. That looks like a javelin. That's probably definitely mislabeled. There's a couple of mislabels in here. That should be like a Raiden.
Redirect to fill the gap and take those gunboats off Integrity.
Corvus, yeah, and the Integrity. Argus is back here. This is the Corvus. You notice how the Corvus is actually, the Argus is actually backing off because it's a light carrier, or escort carrier. Throwing in their cruisers in to start brawling with the lighter assault ships.
Scimitar, you return to play bait.
This is what the Scimitar, this is what the Javelins are designed for. They're designed to be much more maneuverable than the heavier. They're probably the most maneuverable of the capital ships. They were designed to rumble with Van Duel. Specifically, they were designed to raid Van Duel fleets, hit and runs kind of thing. So this is what it's sort of built to do, is run in front of the fleet, fire a bunch of torpedoes off, and back off or run away. Notice how it just shrugs off that attack and responds with capital size 12 capital killers. That thing has not got a chance.
Banshee, push forward. Let's see how strong their line is. Raiden, you're their support.
So the Banshee is a frigate. It's an Idris. Notice how they're probing, trying to create holes. These are glares going for the obvious command ship. Hitting some of the main guns too.
Multiple impacts, sir. Could have been capital ship fire.
No, it's too focused. It's more like heavy fighters. Do we have a line on them?
Turrets have been taken out, sir.
Gauntlet, come in. We need you to sweep up some fighters on us.
For those of you who are wondering, there is a actual the full acronyms are actually for the UEE Navy is available online. They actually have a full list of what they listed out as. So
On it, sir. Get us in close.
Aye, sir.
You're up, turret gunners. We're guarding Bishop here. Make me proud.
she has a connection which has already been revealed to Admiral Bishop, but I'm not going to, because if you didn't watch the behind the scenes, you wouldn't know. Is there any Hornet tracker specific lore other than it was built around the same time? The original version was built around the same time the F7A Mark IIs were being developed. Unknown if they're used in the military. They might be. Yeah, it wouldn't fit the cruiser's naming scheme.
Heard the captain? I want those dull ships fried and crispy. Copy? Aye, Captain.
I wonder if they're going to build a battleship specifically for this scene.
Let them have it, gunners. It's us or them.
Because there's not many battleships in the UE, so they kind of retired most of them.
Good kill.
You hit the Krugari. I imagine that there's a full system that's running ammunition boxes throughout the through the side. Probably some poor bastard's job is to run below you with like ammo crates and just constantly resupply the feeders to keep the gunners going.
Those fighters knocked out Gary's shields. Enemy bombers are incoming. Take them out. Tracking's on.
Look at the gauntlet structure now. They're not in line anymore. No, they're trying to surf. They're trying to circle the Krugari to defend it. These are bombers. Yeah. Pummeling that thing. Size 7s, baby.
Yeah, got one.
There we go. One of the glaives took a hit for you, for you, buddy. It's a dreadnought, not a battleship. Super dreadnought, actually.
The four Vandu bombers trying to hit the Krugari again. Let's focus up and take them out.
Like I said, these javelins are designed to just non-stop fire their main turrets.
Thank you, sir. Good job.
Now you're back in line. These are elite heavy fighters only used by the most ace of ace pilots. So these are probably the best pilots that the Vandu will have in this fleet, and they're currently beating the shit out of that Idris. The Banshee's taking an absolute chonking from these little boys. After fighting an Idris in Squadron or in Star Citizen, though, this ain't shit. That, on the other hand, probably is. Slicing that thing in two.
Did you see that? Oh God.
Vandu love their beam weapons. What year did this take place relative to the Perseus? Perseus was developed. God, 400 years before this. The Perseus was old technology for this. In fact, the last end of the Achilles would take place a year after this battle, which would reintroduce the Perseus back into the UEE Navy. So that's why you don't see them in the fleet, because they're really old ships by this point.
Gotta take out that Hunter's small turrets.
It's called the Hunter. But I think this is a frigate. For the only reason why I was able to slice the Idris in half.
Got another turret.
By the way, all of this damage is procedural. So all of these things are flying off that are blocking your shots. That is procedurally part of the Maelstrom system they developed for this game. So it's like a procedural damage system. Works for ships and structures in Squadron 2. Yeah, this is the battle that had them build the Polaris. To give you context, the Polaris's job was to destroy. Ooh, gosh, those are stingers.
There's too many of them.
The latest generation of heavy fighters. I'm a little okay with these fighters being easier to kill, because Vanduul aren't exactly well known for their holy Jesus. I forgot how close you get. Okay, now we're just tangling with the destroyer.
All gunners, get ready to target the main turret.
Are they firing at the they are. Okay, there we go, another Hunter. Is that a missile lock on?
Is that Marcus? Can anybody see? Open fire. Take out that main turret. One of my guns is down. All gunners, take out that turret. It's the only target right now. We won't survive another hit.
Turret down!
Now that they're alongside, they're gonna fire
Tracking multiple inbound boarding spikes. Target and eliminate.
The spikes.
We should get the hell out of here. I need help! I need help!
So the entire right flank of the Second Fleet battle group is falling apart. Both the Gauntlet and the Banshee Banshee's dead. Gauntlet's basically destroyed. So there are fighters and other forces which are slipping by the battle crew, the group right now, to head to landfall. And we actually do know in the lore, New Corvo is absolutely destroyed. They bombed the fuck out of that planet. And the reports of Vanduul arriving on the planet and having, hand-to-hand combat with civilians on the planet's surface. We've actually seen some footage of like the destruction of New Corvo, which has been left around. But yeah, it is awful. It is an awful situation. While the UE would eventually win this battle, it was a Pyrrhic victory because the main capital city of this planet is just dust.
Copy. Forward inventors on
The Vega system is where this takes place.
the ground forces.
We've got your pad, Argus.
Appreciate it. Could really just do with some fire cleanup. We're taking multiple hits.
335. Break engagement and support.
Sir, briefing now. Charging main guns, prepping for full spread. Any effect on target?
Is that like 12 size 9s right there?
Firing again.
That's 6.
Getting a weird power spike from the King ship.
It's actually not Argus. This is the Corvus. The Argus is actually flew backwards. This is the I think this is the Corvus. But I think the Corvus still showed up as a...
Break, Argus, break!
Oh, it is Argus. They say Argus. Yeah. It's a name mix-up.
Argus is down. Repeat.
Yeah.
Argus is down.
Flight ops.
Argus.
Scramble any available support ships to pick up survivors.
3 guns, 241 after.
Break engagement with this destroyer.
Argus is Argus.
Align for a run on the King ship.
Weapons. I'm gonna need you to cook up a firing solution on that King ship.
For context, that battlecruiser is probably much better armed than the Krugari is. The Krugari has those Goliaths, and they're fucking mean, but they only fire so many, and the in terms of like DPS, almost certainly that battlecruiser had, or that cruiser had, much more firepower to bring to bear. So if it's consistent barrage of like 9 shots did not bring down the shields, there's no chance that the Goliaths are going to do anything to this thing.
Hit him with everything we got.
So all of our weapons even focused?
Corvus is down. Argus was the escort. They say Argus, but yeah, it's a voice line error. There's a couple of errors in there. Yeah.
Have to do something.
He says Argus is down, but I think it's a voice line error. So I'll go back here to the where he's conducting the battle right here.
Argus, shift your position back and drift 8 degrees.
Yeah, so
FX axis. That should bring the
Argus is shifting backwards. So they say the Argus is down, but the Argus is back here. The Corvus is the one that moved forward.
Boiler into your field of fire. Corvus, redirect to fill the gap and take those gunboats off integrity.
That's supposed to be the Corvus. They say the Argus is down. That's supposed to be the Corvus, or the Corvus. So that's kind of like a little error there. This is one of the reasons why it's not done yet. They haven't kind of gone over all this kind of stuff. The rounds from the Goliath connect with the King ship. Do punch straight through the through. Mark takes over the gunnery officer. They do, but it's like hitting a tank. It's like hitting a tank with like a 50 cal. You might punch through the armor of a tank with a 50 cal, but you're not going to destroy a modern tank with that. Yeah, it's the wrong voice line. It is possible the voice line is incorrectly mentioned in the name and purpose. In the heat of war, probably. You could also just chalk it up to everyone is getting shit. Like half the right flank of the of the Second Fleet is completely gone. Like it's just chaos at this point. They're getting themselves munched.
Break engagement.
Appreciate it. Could really just do with some fire cleanup. We're taking multiple.
Flight ops. Scramble any available support ships to pick up survivors. This thing is chewing us up, sir.
Break engagement with this.
See, that's the Corvus. You can see on that. Let me see if we can back up a little bit. The This is the Corvus. The Argus should be over here. Oh, the Argus is fucked. I think that's supposed to be the Argus right there. You can kind of see it in the background. That's kind of flying dead. Yeah. So they may be the right voice line, but it's just incorrectly placed because this is where the position of the Argus was, and it's currently on fucking fire. It's not, yeah, it wasn't Gary Oldman who said it. It's a wild line when they say this. Raiden inbound. You're hearing that, you know.
Firing again! Getting a weird power spike from the King ship.
Note how he says there's a weird power spike from the King ship because no crew has survived contact with a King ship. Yeah, he should say break Corvus break.
Argus is down. Repeat. Argus is down.
Yeah. So it's the voice lines. It's not Gary Oldman. So yeah.
Flight ops. Scramble any available support ships to pick up survivors.
Because that's...
This thing is chewing us up, sir.
Break engagement with this destroyer. Align for a run on the King ship.
Weapons. I'm gonna need you to cook up a firing solution on that King ship. Hit him with everything we got.
So, all of our weapons even focused?
Have to do something. Right, Mr. Krause? The Van Duel aren't gonna blow themselves up.
Yes, sir.
Wait, next time we take a hit, drop our shields an extra 30%.
Hear that, Shields?
Sir.
Navigation.
Sir.
Adjust heading. 10 degrees port.
Aye, sir.
Let's get their attention.
Imagine that cap is still... I'm surprised that cap is still flying, to be fair. Like that's the Argus right there. You can see the Argus is on fire. So, yeah, the Argus is already fucked by this point. And that's the Corvus. So, yeah, the Argus is behind the Corvus here. You stupid bastards. Why are you committing to a dogfight? So, Akuri is Van Duel for like leader, like admiral or captain or whatever. It's basically a leader, like fleet leader. And Thule is the name of this guy right here, who's the kind of second in command. So Thule is basically like you're being too aggressive, back off, and the leader's like shut the fuck up. They're wounded, we can take them. Fucking... Do you know how many times in lore a hammerhead has taken a shot for a Bengal? These things are like dispensable. And hammerhead pilots are insane. It's at least twice I've seen in lore where a hammerhead pilot intentionally sacrificed themselves to take a shot for a larger ship to prevent damage taking.
Second shield generator is down, sir. Starboard 4 exposed.
Like it would be, I would not want to be in a hammerhead crew in a fleet engagement. It's like, we're gonna die.
Sir,
Hit hit them again.
Waiting on you, Mr. Krause.
They're gonna kill us.
Fucking idiot. I know he's freaking out and everyone's like, you wouldn't do that. I'm like, people act weird under pressure. This is also designed as a kind of we're fucked right now. He's sort of panicking rather than doing his job. So 2 of the 3 hit.
Getting power spikes. And charging up the main gun. I guess you got their attention.
Is the Hammerhead a Corvette then? Well, so there's some discussion about that because in most of the fiction, it's not described as a Corvette. It's described as a gunship. And it's not a capital ship. Capital ship requires a capital ship component, which is size 4, which are irreplaceable. You can only like dry dock them. So the Hammerhead is not technically a Corvette because it's not technically a capital ship. But according to the balance changes, CIG has classified it as a Corvette for its balance changes. So yes and no. It's a gunboat that's also a Corvette in terms of its role in game, but it's not a Corvette. So these are, I think, torpedoes. Or at least missiles. Here we go. Go. At 42 minutes. Go. Here we go. RN Wright. A Wright. T Gingerly. T Moore. C Medina. C Mason. Oh, I love you, buddy. CRA. This is supposed to be a an F7X rather than a CRA. As that would if this was a CRA, this would be a tracker, which doesn't match up with it.
All right, people. 5 seconds out to the fray. Form up, Cal. You got point.
Copy that.
So while Doc is probably the poster child, Cal Mason, everyone knows Cal Mason. Cal Mason got literally a pulp fiction series written after him. This man is probably the best pilot in the UE. He is also insane and charming as ever. So Squadron 42, a little bit of backstory of Squadron 42. They're a penal squadron. Originally, they were, if you've seen, what is it? Ace Combat 7. They're like that, where like they didn't want to waste valuable resources and they're still decent, so they used them in suicidal missions. This was hundreds of years ago. And when one of their commanders realized that these pilots were actually really good, they just really didn't work well under normal Navy discipline, they started changing their tactics and gave them a lot more freedom to complete their missions. They just gave them the objective and told them to go. And then in the process, they became really good at their jobs. And so they went from being a penal squadron to being a pretty well-respected squadron. And because of the Battle of Centauri, where their tactics helped defeat the resurgent Tavaran during the Second Tavaran War, basically beating them and winning the war, they became the best squadron in the UEE. They got special funding, special tactics, and Squadron 42 became a very elite squadron where their main focus was sort of letting elite pilots do what they want to. So each pilot in Squadron 42 gets to choose their ship. Notice they're not just a fighter squadron, they're a mixed squadron. They also have a squadron of bombers, Retaliator bombers, as part of their squadron group. So these are all probably experimental, highly modified versions of their standalone ships that are modified by their pilots specifically for their own jobs. And they get to choose which they do. So you notice how Mason is using an F8 Mark II. Mark II, like X. It's an experimental version. Probably because he was used to flying Hornets, whereas Ryan Unright is flying the F8 because he's better at, just kind of that kind of stuff. So basically Star Citizen Spare Squadron. Yeah, that's basically what we're putting it. So.
Tally's on me.
That's the twin engines, the F7X.
Flight. Echo flight. Prep for...
Notice you're saying Echo flight. So a flight in UE Navy, you have a squadron, which is made up of multiple flights. The flight is 6 ships. 6 ships equals 1 flight, and there are multiple flights. So Echo flight is the bomber flight of Squadron 42. Probably Doc and Cal are probably part of Alpha flight, which is the primary flight. So.
boost.
Yes, it will be. It's going to be on freaking Tavaran tactics here. So what they've done is they've made the Vanduul commit. So now the Vanduul have committed completely to the fleet. The Bengal is toe to toe with the kingship. Now that the Vanduul have completely committed, all of their fighters are probably harassing or even down on the planet. So there's not much air cover left for these larger capital ships, which means that Squadron 42 is going to walk in with some of the with multiple with multiple bombers without anyone to really deal with them to hit their capital ships when they're vulnerable. So a flight is basically a squadron. Yeah, a flight is a small group of ships on top of the squadron. So the squadron is like a much larger sort of thing.
Let's say hi.
All copy.
Plasma flag.
Shields at the ready. Stand by for lock.
This is the kingship's cap, probably.
Copy, Doc. You can cover. I can make a run at that shield, Jenny.
Copy. Hey, Rover, take Charlie and Delta and screen up those fighters. Neil, Mug, you're in main. They'll be running a double switchback.
Copy that. Charlie's maintain vector. I'll clear your shot.
Got it. All echoes, stay on the ball.
Light them up.
Look out.
The Vanduul are also really aggressive, so they'll probably not attack the bombers. They'll probably go after the fighters once they've engaged because they want the glory.
Cal, I don't think your ship got the firepower to take out a mid round.
You might be right.
This is anime protagonist bullshit, and I'm here for it.
Shield soften up.
Shields up!
Full power shields, because they've been... Before they fire, if you notice, he knew that he was trying to goat them into attacking them. So when he said, next time we take a hit, drop the shields by 30%. What he was trying to do was to make them look weaker as they approached the kingship, knowing that the leader will see this as a way to cut off the head of the snake, kill the leader while they had a chance, and to do so in one-on-one combat, which would then boost his own standing as a commander amongst the Vanduul, being able to take on the enemy commander and defeat him in single combat, sort of almost with these ships. So the reason why this happens is because Bishop knows how the Vanduul fight. He is pretty well versed in how their culture works and has dedicated most of his career to learning how the Vanduul fight. So he understands their mentality. So that was intentional. He knew that the commander would likely try to overcommit once he did that. So he kept some of the power in reserves to know that when they opened up, he would probably didn't know, probably hoped his shields would be able to stop this full thing. But yeah. How common are kingships to Bengals? Kingships are rare. Bengals are much more common. Yeah, he's the UEE's version of Admiral Thrawn. The shield stopped it. Ripped off one of its engines.
Report! Shields are holding. Barely. That shot took out our main thrusters.
No, not us, them.
The kingship shields are down.
Yes.
Shut up, dude.
We don't celebrate.
You don't care. I don't want to hear any word out of your mouth there, Mr. I'm not firing at this kingship. This dude.
The kingship shields are down.
Yes.
No. You do not get to celebrate. You do not get to celebrate. You get a court-martial after this.
We don't celebrate until they're dead.
Hit him! Hit him!
I have a question. How was the aux engine? How was the aux engine was a main? Those are all main thrusters. They have 4 main thrusters. They just have smaller main thrusters. Size 9 anti-capital torpedoes. Hitting an unshielded target. This is not going to end well. I wouldn't be surprised if some of those were antimatter torpedoes. Yeah, basically, Thule is effectively saying, you've failed us. Your bloodlust has cost us. Your own arrogance has cost us this battle and this kingship. There's no way that we're going to survive. And what his Okuri is doing at this point is being like, recognizing that he fucked up, that he has failed. And so he is going to transfer command of the clan to his second command. Because Vanduul do have this sort of honor, internal honor, where when they recognize that they screwed up, instead of like falling, they'll fall on their sword, but they're like, instead of like just taking everyone with them, they'll assign a second in command, and that command will usually take over. But does the clan survive? That's the purpose. That's what he says here. Persevere, and tear down our enemies. He's basically saying is, it's now your job to carry the clan with this, which we don't know what it is, but Occam's razor, or in this case, Occam's shiny glowing spear, it's probably some sort of super weapon. To use a Gundam reference, this is Char. his shield's kind of messed up, his front shield. This is a Stinger. Squadron 42's trying to go after him. And he beats away. That's probably Cal actually was chasing him. Back this up a little bit. What crazy bastards. Holy shit. Those are hammerheads. What are you going to do to that thing? Are you just going to ram it? God damn. The fact they survived this entire time and they're like, we're in front of this Bengal. We ain't fucking leaving. I know they're screaming, but like at this point, stay out of the fucking fire arc of your Bengal. Yeah. Hey, what is this commanded by Worf? Also, this is probably the Gauntlet. They're on that party bus, yeah.
Sir, King ship's headed right for us.
Can we evade?
Shot took out the main thruster, sir. I'm trying to get the auxiliaries online.
Getting a rapid increase in the King ship's energy signature. Looks like they're trying to go critical.
Even if we dodge, we won't get clear of the blast range on auxiliary alone. Attention fleet. This is Admiral Bishop. You are ordered to immediately withdraw. I repeat, withdraw. All non-essential personnel are dismissed to abandon ship. If you want to volunteer to stay, we can sure use your help.
Ain't nobody leaving.
All right. Tell the gunners to concentrate all the power they've got. Maybe we can take out this King ship before it hits us.
Yes, sir. Logistics. I want every ounce of juice pumped into those guns. If we don't need it to breathe or shoot, I don't want it.
Yeah, the God. Looking at this, it is so fucked. The second fleet is entirely screwed. The thing is if it wasn't for the King ship going down, you look at this. There's a javelin that's getting picked apart. That's an that's a javelin. That was a hammerhead. Hammerhead getting picked apart. This is a javelin that's destroyed, and here's the gauntlet that's just on fire. And you're taking a long-ass nap. He's got duct tape on his chest?
There's a pod here, come on! Go, go, go! Come on! Come on, come on!
In a couple of minutes. I mean, yeah, probably in actual universe. Yeah, taping his last name on it. Smash F for drugs.
I think I can crouch into that.
Every reclaimer.
Yes.
Fun fact, the UEE has a full fleet of vultures, which they use for cleanup operations like this.
Let's go! Ah!
And that's not gonna do shit.
Shit! Ah!
Wow, okay, he was already dead. Not reclaimers? I think they have some reclaimers. But they do have vultures as well. I will say there's a bit of an anticlimactic moment where like that is
hold the door!
Absolutely brutal. You don't get to see it, but like in the original one, they got blown up. the ejection got rocked. And he's on fire. This game gets dark.
I need to find another way out of here.
Marine contingent, most of the Marines are probably defending the main systems and are probably dead. It's a kid's game.
All personnel evacuate ship.
Yeah, we do see some Marines, but like, I know for a fact that Marines aren't the only armed personnel on a Navy ship. Even in any modern Navy, there's still armed Navy personnel, especially when boarders are on board. I'm sure every Marine feels like they failed if they let the Navy crews pick up a gun, but you know, in this situation, yeah, a lot of key things have failed. Yeah, the UE does have a tech advantage over there. So like, while there is like a lot more Van Duel ships, that's probably the only reason why they won was because they had numerical superiority compared to the these are Marines right there trying to see, like, that feels like appropriate. That those Marines dumped at least 2 magazines in that thing before it went down. Go. The back of the ship is broken. I don't get why you can just steal credentials because it's a video game. My guess is there's some sort of emergency because the ship is currently in complete disarray. You probably have some level to be able to steal credentials because of the status of the ship. But they don't want you to be able to steal credentials unless you have the right username and password. Yeah, okay. Obviously, they're inspired for the Doom game. Notice how he presses his Moby to his. I want to be hacking him. There, how convenient. I mean, also notice how the Jeffries tubes are exactly the right size for a person. The Duel haven't bothered using dead crews Moby to access ship systems, so they haven't hardened with 2-factor biometrics.
Come on, man. Get to the door, seal it. Not so basic, no. Just go.
This is a Marine. Probably needs a pacing a little bit. I like the idea of him trying to be like, go, I'm gonna hold them off because it's his job. He's literally a Marine. This is his job, is to protect those the Navy from getting out. This is his combat armor. But it looks a little ridiculous with the Vandal charging towards him, and then him being like, go, that kind of stuff. Is there? Yes, there is. It's the Astropump. It's actually down below in the links. I gotta put up a new thing for discussing the lore. Do you have any mailers other than the baby knives in game? As far as we know, it's just the combat knives. There is a ballistic shield though, so I would be surprised if they do have some melee weapons. Okay, that feels okay. That doesn't feel too bad. Okay, that feels like you should survive that, but. Okay, he dumped 2 magazines into him. I feel like that's okay. That feels okay. Probably scripted to show his dodge, but possibly.
Alert. Fire detected. Room locking down. Repeat. Room locking down.
2 mags of 9mm, yeah. I don't know many modern armor that can survive two full magazines point blank of 9mm ammo. You know, Armadillo can survive that.
Systems back online.
I love this scene. So you might say,
depressurizing.
So there's no lore for this, but it is implied at least.
Sealing suit.
There's some sort of emergency suit seal, likely either a air shield or something else like that that can activate. That is one of the engines, I believe. That is one of the Javelin's engines. You also notice that it's a -4 degrees Celsius, and which is actually pretty warm in space. Yeah, they talked about self-healing suits in the past. I think that's suit temp. It's getting lower, so you notice how it's getting lower as he's going. I love the dynamic. All right, joined. Gonna be interesting. I'm glad I'm not the only one getting weirdly studious about fake game history as though it was real. I love this sort of thing. I'm a nerd for it. So the inspiration behind this is called the push and pull mechanic that CIG's producing, which is more to do with like how astronauts EVA by like, you know, moving around the ship, moving around the exteriors and stuff like that. Though usually you would have to have a bunch of handholds, so they're just kind of using like the hands as sort of grippy mechanics. So as if your hands have some sort of surface condension. There's no lore behind it. I imagine there will be at some point where EVA suits have the ability to like grip onto the steel holes or the exterior holes. Yeah, like mag hands. Which in my mind I think makes a little bit more sense than boots, because you're gonna want to use EVA, you're gonna want to use your 0G to an advantage if you're moving around. It's a lot slower to walk in this situation than it would be to propel yourself around like you're in water. It's about negative 400 degrees Fahrenheit. Yeah, that's what I thought so. Are there Tavaran capital ships? Yes, but we don't know what they look like. I wish I'd studied this much for my master's. Space is negative 273, then 273 Kelvin. It's not consistent temperature though, right? If I remember correctly? Space is more, depending on where you are and your connection to like other spots. I will say this is one of the best scenes in the demo, honestly. It's so insanely cool and dangerous. As you notice, his oxygen level is also running out, and it's getting colder as he's staying out there. It's just such a cool visual. Crazy bastard hammerhead commanders doing everything they can to protect the wounded, you know, capital ships. If temperature in a system would be vary based on the distance of the star and star type. Yeah, that's what I figured. Temperature gauge is gone now. It's going inside. This oxygen still going down. Such good music too. No, nothing in heat can carry a vacuum. But can't other surfaces heat up in vacuum? With external forces like light?
Warning, oxygen low.
Oh, yeah, but he's refilling now.
Pressurizing.
Via radiation. Yeah.
Pressurized.
Gravity online.
And radiation is light for all intents and purposes, yeah. Not effectively. Does EVA cost additional fuel or oxygen? Yes, in the game it will eventually. Notice that your suit's covered in ice.
Thought I was the only one left.
So did I.
Look, I need your help with something. Follow me.
We're running low on power, so we have to reroute our energy from our shields to our thrusters to change direction.
I don't think you could have convection in space, though.
Take a seat. I need you to steer the ship. Time for your first piloting lesson. We're setting a new course. For that. Ready?
Shields
Go.
offline. Maneuvering systems online.
Shields are off. The maneuvering thrusters are on. Oh, you can hear that creak. To give you context, this is very typical of javelins. Javelins are designed to absolutely get beaten to shit and back and still come back.
Come on!
I think she was a hammerhead pilot with that man inside. She might have been.
Good. Hold that. Shifting power back to shields.
Shields on.
Engaging autopilot.
Corners! I ordered you to fall back!
Can't do that. You're dead in the water and we can help.
The situation's under control. You order reverse!
You can't kill it. Not before it takes you out. We are boarded and burning. This is the only way.
Well, lock your course and get off that thing. Both
There's a personal relationship between Bishop and McLaren.
of you clear?
Aye, aye.
Rachel!
That's why she calls her Rachel.
I will.
It's actually well known because they actually leaked it. Boarding ships. More boarding ships. Yeah. Okay, it's not a leak.
We're about to have company. I've got to try and divert as much energy as I can to the engines. So I'm gonna need you to hold them off. Go now.
Yes, sir.
So good. How does it go through shields? They're kinetic. Shields don't stop kinetic energy. They slow it.
Life support and lab are offline.
Disabling safeties on the reactor to give some extra juice. Here they come!
All right. You want to see if this feels right. Okay, that was a little quick, I think. Also, what is he doing?
Keep it up. Another breach!
They shouldn't be going down that quickly. I agree. The first one seemed a little bit better because it was like double mag dump. If this is the hardest difficulty, they should be a little bit harder to kill.
We're doing good. We got more duel coming!
Yeah, his ADS. It's probably because he didn't get a chance to set his settings properly, but yeah.
Danger. Hit shield 25%.
He's also missing a lot, but he's got some shots which are just straight face shots.
Nice work. On me, quick!
McLaren's also shooting them. But you see the headshots. You see the headshots with
Almost
her,
finished here.
with him connecting with.
Ejection system offline.
The escape pod door is jacked. I need you to manually override the door.
Yeah, he was getting headshots, but I don't think headshots should
Give me a rifle.
should be that efficient.
I'll cover you. I just need a minute to finish up here.
Especially in the hardest difficulty. It's just a personal thing. Even with Squishy Bando was kind of get his ass kicked, yeah.
We're good. Down!
I guess it's to make sense because he headshot them and she shot him so that it's how he died. The future 9mm, yeah.
Sir.
Don't argue. Just do me a favor. Give this to Bishop. Tell him it's all gonna be okay.
I see caseless 9mm go hard.
Tell him it was a good trip.
Warning. Collision imminent.
Get the hell out of here.
Can you leave her? That's a good question. Captain's Rifle's tier 5.
I said get out of here.
No, I'm not leaving you.
She is the captain. People said you couldn't see the, but there's actually, you could actually see like a visor come up. So there's definitely a glass there. There we go.
I do solemnly pledge, mind and body, I will defend the Empire with my life.
Your application to the Flight Academy has been reconsidered. Captain McLaren had submitted a letter of recommendation on your
Like that is UE Marines.
behalf before the battle.
Okay, it's fine. It's fine.
We may be a small crew,
UES Stanton.
but the work we do matters.
Welcome to the Stanton. I'm Eugene Morrow.
I'm Petty Officer Webster, Chief Mechanic.
She's your main mechanic.
This will be your new home.
We got you flying with Lieutenant Commander Colton. He's one of our best.
Sir?
Who the hell are you?
I'm your new wingman, sir. The name's...
You want me to learn your name? You live long enough for me to care.
He's known as the Old Man. That's literally his call sign is Old Man. And anybody who knows how call signs are given, it's not because he's an old man. It's because he was an old man when he was a young pilot.
Baron Actual, you're clear to launch.
Launching in 3, 2, 1.
These are Gray Cat Cygnus mining ticks. These are semi-autonomous miners that can fly around and work on their own to mine large asteroids. Ooh, was that a Cutlass I saw in the distance? Cutlass Black, nice. This is Van Duel inside the coil. Scorpion, probably. Xi'an. That's a Xi'an corpse. Because this is a Cartu-All. Roll up. Roll up. All right, this is a lot longer than I was anticipating. Very cool. So hopefully I give you some context for how the lore of that's in there. Too low. Terrain. Yeah. So much to break down. Very cool stream. Hopefully you enjoyed it. I did want to go over like kind of the lore details, some of the little pieces you picked up that I picked up over there. There are definitely some changes. Hopefully we'll get some more information as we get closer to 2026 in terms of the different things. I do like the breakdown. I'm going to put the Navy order of battle that somebody shared with me in the description. So if you're watching this on YouTube after the fact, you can see what another citizen has actually put together, which has all the things like Carrier Battle Group 65, the Bengal Carrier, the light escort carrier, the cruisers, those all kinds of the names, the captains, which are all pulled out of the screenshots, like people pixel hunted through all of that kind of stuff. So hopefully you enjoyed this. I'll be back next week with same time on Monday, and we're going to look at the breakdown of the differences between the Earth and Terra, which are two different planets in Star Citizen lore, and how their conflict is going to unravel this story of Star Citizen, which is slightly different. Thank you for hanging out. Thank you for watching. If you did enjoy this, please hit that follow button on YouTube, on Twitch. Go ahead and follow us on Twitch at twitch.tv/TheAstroPub, and for more, regular gameplay content. And if you enjoyed this on YouTube, make sure you hit that like button, subscribe for more content, and hit the bell icon to be notified when news is released. I am going to hopefully do by this weekend or next weekend a video on the main conflict of the Star Citizen universe. So it's the main Star Citizen game between Earth and Terra, which is why I want to do that kind of follow-up video where I kind of explain a little bit more there. Thank you for watching, and like I always say, ex historia ad astra.